Back with us on the SportsMax Zone. France produced another efficient display at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar today, turning back giant killers Morocco 2-0 to reach Sunday's final against Argentina. Theo Hernandez put the defending champions ahead after just 5 minutes before Randall Colomwani sealed the deal in minute 79. Defeat ends a terrific run for Morocco, who knocked off Belgium, Spain and Portugal en route to becoming the first African semi-finalists in World Cup history. Victory for France keeps them on course to become the first team since Brazil in 1962 to successfully defend the World Cup title. Interestingly, Morocco dominated possession in Wednesday's semi-final, keeping the ball for over 60% of the contest. TNT's 2006 FIFA World Cup winning defender, World Cup defender, Brent Sancho, joins us to look back at today's contest. Brent, if only it were so, eh?
I was happy with the winning defender. I like that statement.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Speaking of defending, France had to do a lot of that today. They weathered a storm from, they weathered tempests from Morocco over the course of the game. And some Morocco supporters would be ruining the fact that some of their key pieces were absent through injury, and then one man had to come off before the 30-minute mark in the game, or else they may have pushed the French even harder than they did. Tough luck for Morocco. Good on France to advance to Sunday's final against the Argentines.
Yeah, it was a game where I think the French would look back at it and think, well, we've done it, we've gotten there, but it was not a picturesque or a perfect game for the French. They did have to defend resolutely. They did have to, of course, defend in, I would say, sometimes in panic mode. But they were able to push it over the line. I think you really have to give Morocco a lot of credit. It's a team that's not necessarily deep in terms of talent, but certainly the team spirit that they've showed throughout this World Cup showed up in today's game. And I think they're a bit unfortunate that obviously they didn't have a full squad to choose from going into this fixture. But at the end of the day, as we all know, World Cup is a tournament, and the tournament is very much about the sum of the parts and not necessarily the individuals.
Yes, let's put some contextualization to what, let's put some context to what France has done at the World Cup this year, Brent. Because when they began the tournament, not many people were looking at them being able to defend their title because of the players that they had missing, the big names that were missing, the Benzema, Paul Pogba, of course, and N'Golo Kante, to name the most prominent. And when you looked at their midfield list, all 6 of their specialist midfielders had never played in the World Cup before, and many pundits were scared away of choosing France because of that fact. And we have seen games this tournament where there has been a lack of control because perhaps of the callow nature of the midfield in some respects. Adrien Rabiot, who was never played at the World Cup, his presence was sorely missed today. Illness robbing him of a chance to play today, and they lacked control because of his absence. But even he is only new to the World Cup. So I say all that to say, perhaps it is that we should be heaping credit on Didier Deschamps and his backroom staff for taking a French team of this nature, of this complexion, to a World Cup final when most of their best pieces in midfield did not make the trip to Qatar.
Well, obviously you can't see me, but I've put my hand up as one of those that gave them absolutely no chance of reaching this far. And it is a testament to the French players, the depth. You called some names there, George, that in any team would be missed sorely. And despite all of that, they're still able to come up with the goods. And not just only come up with the goods, they've won football games against teams that we may consider had a chance to probably go all the way. And I think the French team, in terms of what they've shown, particularly in the middle of the park, have been spot on. I want to highlight, if you permit me, one player in particular, and that's Griezmann. I think Antonio Griezmann has been outstanding throughout this tournament, playing in a very unfamiliar position because, of course, of all the injuries that the French has had. And he has been tremendous, and really one of the key reasons why they've gotten so far. Yes, you're right. They've not looked a total in terms of what they've done and what they've put forward. But what they've done, they've been able to win football games. They've been able to dig their heels in. It's a different type of France performance that we've seen because they've done things in terms of defending tough, in terms of doing the dirty side of the football game and been able to do that well. And as much as they have the flair and finesse that we normally associate with a French team, you'd have to argue that they've gotten to the finals by pure grit.
Yes, Brent, and as you're singling out players, what did you make of Ibrahima Konate's performance today? He came in, of course, because of Dio's injury. He came in and, of course, was able to step up for his team.
And he is indicative of so many in the team, and you're right. He was solid today. George mentioned Rabiot, who's a first time. You look up Upik Makano at the back, of course, a splendid job as well. Koundé playing at right back, very, very unfamiliar position for him. Albeit he has played it for Sevilla, and of course would probably be required to do it at Barcelona, but he's came in and settled in and done well there. And that's really what France has been about. A bunch of players that have kind of been collectively put together and probably sat in front of Didier Deschamps, and he probably said to them, listen, you're going to have to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to do things that you're not used to doing to get to where you need to get to. And they haven't only just responded, I think they have actually excelled in some of those situations.
Yeah, and another point to mention, and you can agree or disagree with me, do you think that the fact that France are defending champions, the experience that they had, despite Morocco having 60% possession today, France kept calm and cool and waited on those moments that they were able to capitalize on, despite missing moments too, but just able to, bounce back and stay calm?
Yeah, I think the experience, I think going up a goal early in the game as well helped that as well. But I think they would have had to defend for quite a long period of time because the goal did come early. But you're right, they were very calm. I mean, of course, there were situations where you thought they were extremely lucky not to concede. But that being said, throughout the French starting lineup, they seem to feel very comfortable in what they're doing. It was a good performance today. Yes, we talk about the possession arrow going towards Morocco with the 60%. But I think when you really look at the football game and look at what France was able to do today, they did come out victorious because yes, as they experienced, but I think also the fact that they have been that type of team throughout the tournament. And, kudos for them. It's such a strange World Cup. I've said this so many times on the program, that you would have expected Morocco to come back and probably nick 2 goals. But France defended very, very well. And throughout that game, you just felt that no matter what Morocco threw at them or threw at them, they would survive, and they did.
Yeah, Brent, when we were previewing yesterday, we spoke of Morocco's injury issues with Aguerd out with an injury. The captain was 50-50. He decided to play with his thigh injury, but was substituted after 21 minutes. Would you, as the Morocco coach, have started the captain, given his the fact that he was hamstrung by injury in a critical Morocco defence that had to cope with the likes of Kylian Mbappe?
Yeah, I would, and I would do it over and over again, because what Saiss brings to that defence is obviously something that you can't replace, and clearly that was the case. I did talk about the lack of depth in the Morocco team, and when you start going down to player 14, 15, 16 in their roster, you start recognizing that they're not playing at the types of level that you would hope a team that's in the semifinals would play at. And I think because of that, because of the fact that they have so many injuries, I think as well, Lance, the type of energy and effort that they put out in their performances that they've had throughout the World Cup, it's only a matter of time they run out of gas. And I would even lump Croatia in that conversation. When you see the teams that do a phenomenal amount of work to make up for the lack of quality that maybe an Argentina or France or Brazil may have, at some point they may run out of gas, because at the end of the day, the games are coming fast and furious, and it's very difficult in terms of recovery to make sure that you're fit to play and give the type of energy required to play in those sorts of systems.
Just before we look at the final now, Brent, there's a question I need to ask. The play of some of these players, individuals, in some of the teams at the World Cup, and even the play of some of the teams collectively, would you say that it's down to the fact that international football is played at several knots below what happens at club football. Frenetic end-to-end, pedal to the metal for 90 minutes that we watch week in, week out in the Premier League, in La Liga, in the Champions League especially. That's not what happens at the international level. And so some players who are unheralded for their clubs but who have been giants at the World Cup have benefited from the fact that international football is played at a slower pace than the club game.
I could give you one name, Ambarat for Morocco. He didn't do too well at Watford, as you know, and was arguably probably one of the players of the tournament for this World Cup. But you're right. Look, one of the things that you realize as a player is that coming to play international football, it's more of a chess game, and teams are a lot more methodical in what they do. The build-up is a lot slower. And of course, a lot of it is down to tactics. And what we've seen throughout this World Cup in particular is that teams put forward systems, tactical approaches that was indicative of what they have as a collective. What we see in the Premiership is end-to-end stuff, and teams actually go at each other for 90-plus minutes. And I think that's the difference. And we saw that in the World Cup. And I want to add as well, I still feel, guys, that because the World Cup was in November, I think that's why we've gotten so many strange results in it. I still believe that teams' preparation weren't what they would have liked it to be. And I feel that may have hamstrung some of the bigger teams in the tournament. But yeah, you are correct in saying that it is a not slower than league football.
Yeah, we're going to have a finals preview show by itself, I'm certain, for the rest of the week. So the last thing to ask you is, in terms of the French performance, you mentioned Antoine Griezmann. I see some pundits, crediting the work that Diego Simeone has done in making Antoine Griezmann at Atletico Madrid, and they're forgetting that he was a star before Atletico Madrid at Real Sociedad, but it's not our fault that they're not studying the football from the root. But the quality of him in this tournament, Brent, is because I believe, whereas when we hear of players having a free role in the team, it's a free role to attack. His free role means he plays everywhere: center half, left back, midfield, wing, striker, and his license to go where there is a problem that needs resolution is testament to the faith that Didier Deschamps has in him, and the quality of Antoine Griezmann as not just as a forward but as a proper footballer all through and through.
I'm not sure if anyone that's watching this program now is familiar, of course, of Griezmann defensively, because we don't see it. You don't see that at Atletico. You certainly didn't see that at Real Sociedad. But what you've seen in what he's done, George, in this World Cup, you're spot on. Defensively, he was just everywhere. He was trying to nick balls. He was trying to get involved in terms of breaking up play. And he ran his socks off for France, and more defensively. And a lot of the plaudits, of course, may be weighing towards his offensive contribution. But I'm with you with this one. I think defensively, what he brings to the team, spotting danger, and that's one of the things I think Griezmann is very good at. He's good at reading danger, understanding, very intelligent footballer. But he uses intelligence defensively to make sure that France always has a double up in key positions and shutting down danger when it's about to arise. And you have to give credit to that. I mean, how many players that play in that position that you and I know that will not put in the type of work that he did defensively? And he's done it throughout this World Cup.
Yeah, stay where you are, Brent. We have to take the break and come right back. More football to talk about on the other side. And yeah, Antoine Griezmann was one of the best players in Spain before Atletico Madrid. And yeah, check out his Real Sociedad days. Awesome player, even then. Back with more after these.